What is going on, everybody? Welcome to WHM On Screen Live. My name is Andrew Jupin, and I'm alongside two dudes who, we're wrapping up 3 weeks of sitting in movie theaters with these New York Film Festival screenings. And I got to say, couldn't be happier to do it with two better dudes. We have ourselves Mr. Eric Siska.
Hello.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. Was excited to sit and watch movies for a long time.
Excited to give your ass a break now, though.
Oh, yes, definitely. I'm breaking in my ass, getting my regular ass back. It's wonderful.
Speaking of broken asses, you know him, you love him. Chris Cabin's here, too.
Well, the ass has to breathe. The ass has to be giving, and that's the problem is that 3 weeks of doing this, you are sitting on your ass for about, almost 7 hours of the day, almost.
And in between movies, you vent out your ass, right? You go to the restaurant, you take your pants completely off.
Wiggle it around.
You fold it.
Air to it.
Yeah, exactly. You hang it up over the stall. You do your business for 30, 40 minutes. Miss part of the next feature, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what? You'll find it eventually. They get you in early. You don't have to get there right on time. That's a good thing about New York Film Festival.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, man. You will never hear a grander cacophony of bathroom sounds than the press screenings at Walter Reed during the New York Film Festival. I can only speak to the men's room, but good God.
A lot of rip-roaring shits, a lot of heavy breathing.
Well, yeah, because you're talking about a lot of elderly folk, and God bless you, I'm going to be there one day too.
Absolutely.
But it's just a chorus of and that's it. The pissers are quiet enough, thank God for that. But the shitters are just they're singing opera in that fucking stall.
It's a real, you know what? You got the performances on screen when you're in the movies, and then you go to the bathroom. It's a whole different kind of performance art in there.
But it's great all around, is what we're saying.
It is great all around, dude. So let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. It was the final week of the festival, which just officially wrapped up on Friday night. They had some encore screenings this weekend, but we'll get into it here with, I think, one of the best of the year. Park Chan-wook's new one, Decision to Leave, opened up this Friday here in New York City from the good folks at Mubi. They fucking plugged the hell out of this movie, and I'll tell you what, it worked for them. On 3 screens, 1 here and 2 in LA, it grossed just about $90,000 this weekend. So congrats to fucking Mubi, Chris Wells and all those dudes over there. Well done, and it's a great fucking movie.
Oh yeah,
very good.
It's also I think rightfully a big dick move for Mubi, because this is Park Chan-wook. He's a major director, and The Handmaiden, his last picture, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was his. Yes, I mean that was picked up by Amazon. So to be right out of Cannes, we love this fucking movie. We're gonna put it out on our. Is it gonna be streaming? I assume also, right?
Well, yeah, they'll have it on there, at some point. But they're really making the most of the run right now, and it's gonna sort of incrementally expand out, and they'll see how far they can take it. I hope it goes right to Hollywood's biggest night with an international feature recommendation, or shit, man, some acting nominations, because both fucking Tang Wei and Park Hae-il, the 2 stars of the movie, the latter playing the detective and the former playing the woman whose husband mysteriously dies. Just fucking great, stellar performances.
Tang Wei, who you might know, Eric knows from Black Hat. But also
good movie too.
Very
Hat,
good movie,
underrated movie,
wonderful movie. But also I remember her best from Ang Lee's Lust Caution, super underrated.
Yes,
she's fantastic in that. She's really good in this. It's one of those big blown out weird post new wave detective stories that you break the noir, make it a big epic towards the end, hallucinatory voyage into yourself. It's incredible. It's
sort of the detective movie, a little bit of romance, but very weird, and it keeps you on your edge of your seat. That I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's a good one. I almost did, but
it's tough to do. I saw someone somewhere. I think it was in a press quote in an advertisement, called it like post Hitchcock or something, which I could totally see, but like it goes to other places beyond. Also, Park Hae-il, I believe, wasn't he the guy? He was one of the guys in The Host. He was the dude in the like the suit and tie.
Or was he? I have no idea.
I think he was like the little guy in The Host. I think. I hope I'm not wrong on that. But anyway, look for this movie, folks. If you're in like a metropolitan area or a community that might have an independent art house or indie cinema, look for it to come out, because Mubi is really, they are full steam ahead with this one. And honestly, fucking best of luck to them.
Hell yeah.
So this one coming up here, it'll be really quick because I was the only one that saw it. Chelsea and I went to one of the encore screenings.
Oh, nice.
On Saturday night, so I was able to catch this because the press screening was at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen.
No, sir.
But Sarah Polley's Women Talking, fucking fabulous movie, comes out in limited release from UAR, that's United Artists Releasing, and Orion with their dog shit new logo. And then they will expand the movie throughout the coming weeks and into Christmas. I think it'll be, I don't want to say wide, but they will expand on Christmas.
So this is destined for Hollywood's biggest night.
Of course.
It could be for I would say adapted screenplay. It's based on a book by Miriam Toews, who's a Canadian writer. Sarah Polley, of course, famed Canadian. But it is a fucking stacked cast, folks, because you're talking, and this is so you could get into like performances here big time as far as Hollywood's biggest night is concerned.
Of course.
Because you're talking Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Frances McDormand, who's in it for like 2 seconds. It's not a spoiler or anything. She's not a big role, but that could be like a Judi Dench sort of thing, maybe. But like Judith Ivy's great, Michelle McLeod, August Winter, Ben Whishaw. How's
Rooney Mara?
Rooney's good. Rooney's looking a little weird because she's got blonde hair in the movie, so we didn't recognize her at first. But really quickly, the story, it's a heavy movie, folks. So just when you're buying the tickets, get ready to do some emotional gymnastics. But it's a movie it's based on this book, like I said, by Miriam Toews, who based it on this story of a Mennonite community where over the series of like 5 weeks there were rapes throughout this community, and the women getting together. The movie is the women getting together and discussing whether
the Womenites get together to discuss the problem with the Mennonites.
Yes, that's exactly what we're saying here. And so the movie is them getting together to have a meeting where they're going to decide whether they do nothing, whether they stay in their community and fight back against the men, or if they just leave and start their own lives. And it's the pros and cons of all that. It's the women's stories from their, the homes and their, their youth and everything. And it's just, it's a heavy movie, but boy, is it well done.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I have read a little bit about it. I didn't want to I didn't want to learn too much. I did think it was a bold move of Sarah Polley to put the Caddyshack groundhog in several scenes, just coming up and saying, "What's going on here?" and doing the little dance. I thought that was a bold move. I hope it pays off. I don't know.
Well, gophers like that, they're a problem in the Mennonite community as well as our golf course.
Oh yeah. Well, they take up all the vegetables, Eric.
Oh, yeah,
That's what they
exactly.
do.
I think you may have watched the wrong preview for the movie.
Oh, really? That's too bad.
But he's not in there going like his little dancing. Like, remember that guy?
I do, of course. Nobody worry, but I'm just saying he's not. I don't think I saw him in Sarah Polley's Women Talking. That's all I'm saying. As a matter of fact, now I think about it, precisely 0 puppets in that movie.
How many Baby Ruths are going on in there?
Dude, no candy, man. They're fucking Mennonites. Their lives are horrible.
Oh, I guess I didn't think about it. But yeah, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't. No. And that they wouldn't find the candy bar in the pool. They would find it in the pond or something.
Yeah, it would be buried. Bog. It's buried under the ground because somebody feels shame over the candy bar,
as they should.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, look for that one in limited release, and then bigger on Christmas. Check it out. It's one of those things. It's funny, like expanding on Christmas. Jesus Christ, I cannot think of a movie I would like to see and experience less on fucking Christmas afternoon than Women Talking. But hey, whatever. Maybe you're not celebrating Christmas and it's fine. But I'm just saying, if you do celebrate Christmas, Maybe wait until the 26th to go see women talking.
Hey, depressed people have Christmas too. They got.
Oh, that's very true. Hey, very true. You know what? You're right. See it whenever you want. Okay. Next one, really, really fucking banger movie from a filmmaker we all love. It's the one from James Gray, and we are talking Armageddon time.
Yeah. Woo!
Oh
James
man.
Gray.
And this
I did not get to this one, but you guys both did you both see this one?
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah, we both caught it.
Yeah.
This is phenomenal movie. I mean, I've been.
This is phenomenal movie. Put it on the fucking
phenomenal
This
movie.
is phenomenal movie. And also
Absolutely
he looked like
phenomenal
Shrek.
movie. He looked like Shrek. It's phenomenal movie. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just a James Gray diehard. Like I love everything he's done thus far, but like recently I've like Lost City of Z, Ad Astra into this have been really just tremendous.
Sounds like a good streak, man. I love that Lost City of Z.
It's the streak continues, man. And this is like hardcore, his most autobiographical movie.
Yes.
You know,
it's very dark.
Very dark. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, dude.
No, it's got a lot of period detail, but they don't beat you over the head with it, which was something I always worry about with movies, especially around the Reagan era. I'm always like, oh God, I'm gonna hear all the music and all the like fucking TV shit again. It's gonna all happen at once.
Yeah.
It's just because I watch too much of like 80s shit anyway, like old like horror movies and stuff. So I just have in my head that's what I'm gonna get. But no, this is very becalmed, very like subdued. But then when the anger comes out, it's stunning.
But you said it's dark. So was there a problem with the projector?
There was a little bit. There was a bit of a solo issue here where I wish they had taken the gauze off the camera. Why can't we do that? No, it's beautifully shot. It's gorgeously shot.
The movie takes Reagan's America to task way more viciously than White Noise did, the Baumbach film. I thought anyway.
So we head to head with those guys. What do you think? What is destined for Hollywood's biggest night?
This you'll see some performances. I bet you got really good. Because I'm trying to think of like shit that you could put into a clip reel, right? And like Jeremy Strong is the dad, and he does a great job of being a loving, huge asshole of a person. You know, it's like he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy. He is dadding it up big time. I thought Anne Hathaway playing the mother was also very good.
Yeah, I thought she was great. I mean, I think you could have a Judi Dench thing with Hopkins.
Oh yeah,
they love him. They love him to death.
Yes.
And after the father win, I think they're like, "Hey, just nominate him. Get him in there."
Well, because the father was leading, wasn't it? So he could definitely do a supporting here. And the two, I have to say, Eric, this was stunning because there are two major supporting performances in the movie that are like adolescent age boys. Banks Rapetta is like the main kid, and Jalen Webb is the kid that he befriends in public school. And then because the pseudo protagonist, I guess, the little boy, playing sort of like the James Gray kind of character. Yeah. He's not doing well in school. He gets put into a private school that's very expensive. And, it's this thing about him and how he's relating to his black friend who's not in the school. And all of that is handled like with such care and such grace and honesty. It's a really interesting thing of like James Gray holding like privilege to account and stuff.
Well, that's cool. I like how you started that. Like, Eric, you'll like this. Adolescent boys are in this picture.
but the performances are not
right. It sounds great. I really wanted to make it out. I was very exhausted that day, and I unfortunately missed Armageddon time. But good news, folks. It's post 2020. Armageddon time is anytime you want it.
WHM favorite John Deal shows up in a particular performance that you're
no spoilers.
Like. We're not going to say how, but
don't look up who he's playing, Eric.
No.
Just let it happen.
I'm going to see this as soon as it opens.
Because I'll just say Queens, New York, 1980. Leave it at that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, like I said, this is out from focus. This definitely will be their second like Oscar chaser of the year. After Tar comes out, limited release, just a couple weeks, 10/28, and then it'll go wide the week later, 11/4. Definitely another one to mark your calendars for, folks. So the next one I'll give over to you guys here, the new one from Ji Shuang and Ryuji Utsuka, coming out from our friends at Kim Stim in some sort of limited capacity later this year. It's Stonewalling.
Stonewalling. Chris, did you get around to this one as well?
I did not actually, so I'm
Eric
interested to hear what Eric is.
Solo Stonewalling with Eric
I
Siska.
get one. Yeah.
The movie, I liked it a lot, but it's just so people know, extreme slow burn. Very much like you get to really know the atmospheres they put you in, because the screen will be static for extremely long periods of time. But I actually, over a while, I found that very interesting, and it's a good mediation on what it's like to have a child as like a single mother in China contemporarily right now. Not try not to spoil too much, but it's a very slow burn, but it's kind of rewarding in my book.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny, because I saw Kim Stim on there, and shout out to Mika Komodo and all the great people that work there. They always have really interesting shit. So I was bummed that I couldn't get to the screening, and then I saw it was them and was like, oh, okay, now prioritize it, because those folks, small footprint, incredible taste. So seek out that movie when it comes out. So the next one, it's interesting because this is airing. It's a television film. Airing, Eric, in your old stomping grounds of Showtime.
Ooh. Yes, they always like to pick up docs.
Music docs have been big for Showtime. They just did the Sinead O'Connor doc out of Sundance. They also picked that up.
What did they have earlier? Oh, they had the Sheryl Crow doc that was at South by, which was like totally fine.
And I think they're getting that doc about the early early aughts music scene in New York.
Oh, are they going to play that? Yeah, I think Utopia might be putting it out theatrically, and then it'll go there. Yeah, Meet Me in the Bathroom. Great fucking doc. But speaking of, really great docs, Personality Crisis, One Night Only, the new one from David Tedeschi and one Mr. Martin Scorsese. This is all about the musician and New York personality David Johansen, who is a fucking great, really interesting guy, frontman of the New York Dolls, aka Buster Poindexter.
Thespian, a major thespian of Scrooged, mostly Scrooge.
The cabbie in Scrooge. And Chris, bite your tongue. Car 54, where are you?
Also, of course, yes, of course.
The singing bartender in A Very Merry Christmas. He sings Fairy Tale of New York with Jenny Lewis. Right. And so this doc, Chris, you were there too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the Tedeschi Scorsese thing. Like, they did the 50-year argument together, maybe 3-4 years ago. And
which one was that?
I think that's the one about the review of New York Times review of books.
Yes. Okay, you're right. Did he work on the Fran Lebowitz thing with Scorsese too, or no?
Maybe the Netflix show, but not. I think public speaking. Public speaking is just him.
Okay.
But 50. What I like about his work with Tedeschi is that they are looser. That there is like a looseness to them, because Scorsese cannot help himself. He's a tight man. Like, he likes something to be on rhythm. He doesn't like. But this is, I mean, it's part lounge act that Johansson did, and it very good. A lot of good songs, but also just like a brief talking about his influences, talking about how he came to be, how having a hit like Hot like destroyed his life for a little bit.
I could see that.
I absolutely could see that. And he's very easy to follow. He's a very jovial guy. I love watching him.
I mean, that's, it's so great because I was talking with a friend of the show, Sean Weiner, over dinner the other night, and we were talking about I was recommending this movie to him because we both share something that we all share on the show here with each other, and that's like the love of like docs about the oddball, specifically New York oddballs. So it's great that this year at the festival we got this movie, Johansson, classic, born and bred Staten Island oddball, and then Senior, with Robert Downey, so just two New York weirdos. And the cool thing about the movie, what he's doing is he's singing songs written, as David Johansen for the Dolls and for his solo projects and stuff, but he's singing them as Buster Poindexter. So it's cool. You're hearing like New York Dolls, punk rock tunes, but he's doing his whole thing, and he's like drinking on stage. They filmed it at the Cafe Carlisle, which is upstairs from Bemelman's, and January 2020 was the date of it. So, and the movie ends with like a title card that comes up, and it's like, we did this in January 2020, and 2 months later, Cafe Carlyle closed for a year and a half or whatever. So it's another, for fans of like I said, New York oddballs, and also New York history. Cafe Carlyle, very historic New York place.
Oh yeah, and Scorsese heads will know that like the musicians that made up the New York Dolls and the New York Dolls themselves have been like scattered all throughout the Scorsese filmography. I remember very vividly his short-lived show Vice.
Yes,
that was
about President Dick Cheney.
It was indeed
played by Christian Bale.
Young Christian Bale. He had
having a heart attack.
How about we stop and we have a heart attack?
Why don't we have a New York music scene? How about that? I would do something like that. No, the teaser trailer for it was Personality Crisis, and then Johnny Thunder's "You Can't Wrap Your Arm Around a Memory" is essentially the theme to bring out the dead, which is like my favorite Scorsese, bar none. It's just good to see, like, he loves these guys, like the people, the artists he works with, he really loves, and like the fact that he can take time to do stuff like this to show his love is pretty extraordinary.
I was looking it up too. Tedeschi, his only other directorial credit was the 50-Year Argument, but big editor, and he's worked with Scorsese a lot, editing things like Shine a Light, Public Speaking, George Harrison, Rolling Thunder Review. So a lot of his docs in recent years.
Oh man, do you think Thelma Schoonmaker is like, oh, you're with him again, huh? Huh? Yeah, you're with your friend Tedeschi, huh? Yeah.
No, I only save you for the fiction films, films.
Sure, no, I would not want to see the Rolling Stones live. Thank you, Marty. Thank you for doing that for me.
Thelma had a ticket, man.
Maybe we'll see.
Someone was saying David Johansen is in Free Jack. Is that true?
He might be.
I don't remember that at all.
They had a lot of interesting faces in Free Jack.
I just remember Mick Jagger's the villain, and like Mike the Cleaner's in there.
I can see him popping in though. That is definitely the kind of movie he would pop into.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We'll have to see. So next one here. This is all you guys. The new one from Carlos Simon, of course. They did Summer 1993 a few years ago. This is Alcarràs.
Yes. Quick update. Yes, apparently, according to IMDb, he is in Free Jack.
Oh,
okay. David Johansen in Free Jack.
What did you think of this, Eric?
Yes.
It's glitching.
Oh no!
It's
happening.
No.
Oh,
there.
He's like kind of moving.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well, Kevin, why don't you talk about the movie, and then we'll see if Eric's.
I mean, it's a very it's a movie that it's very well made. It's a subject of labor that I'm very personal to me, but it is also a kind of movie I've seen 100 times before about like the strained relationship between employer and employee, like how you navigate that relationship, and it's done in a very familiar way, although I think it's really well done. I loved Simone did a movie I think like 3 maybe even 5 years ago called Summer 1993 that I really liked.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
This was a little bit more familiar in its like trajectories and the way it's going, so I was a little sad about that, but it's a very pretty film. It's well acted. I can't really like complain about it.
Yeah. So I think Eric is trying to maybe restart his internet.
Okay.
So hopefully, let's see here if he bops back in at some point. But yeah, I was bummed to miss it. This is another one. It's another one from Mubi, actually.
Yeah.
And no date on it. We're still thinking maybe end of this year. Eric Siska?
Am I back?
Well,
Sounds
we
it.
can hear you, sort of see you. No, nothing.
I'm gonna be right back.
Okay.
It's gonna try a hard restart, maybe. So yeah, Summer 1993. If I'm remembering this correctly, it was like gorgeously shot on 35.
Yeah. It's
beautiful movie.
It's about a kid dealing with a mother's death. It's a very low key, very good movie. I mostly enjoy it. Like, I wasn't bored during this movie. I just had kind of seen this story done 100 times, and it wasn't differentiated enough for me to like really stick with it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Well, actually, the good news is there's only one more New York Film Festival title left here, and it's one that only I saw. So yeah, it's the fiction feature debut from writer-director Elegance Bratton. It's called The Inspection, and this is from A24. Stars Jeremy Pope. You see his handsome face here on the poster, who was in One Night in Miami. And he's like a Emmy, Grammy, Tony nominated actor. He's done a lot of theater. I think he was on Pose for a few episodes too.
Oh, okay.
Dude is totally great in the movie. He's the lead. Gabrielle Union plays the mother. Raul Castillo from like Army of the Dead and We the Animals and a ton of shit.
Love him.
He's one of the drill sergeants, and then like the lead drill sergeant, the one and only Bokeem Woodbine, dude. In this movie, add him to the pantheon of like the R. Lee Ermeys and everyone else of the world. Eric Siska, look at him moving and shaking.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Hearing you.
Wow, that's amazing. Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
now I can hear you. There you go.
My internet is terrible. We've moved on from Alcarràs.
Well, we'll go back to it, dude. Look, with the click of a button, tell us what you thought.
Okay. I don't know if Chris touched upon this, but that movie is wall-to-wall disgusting shit boys.
There is a lot of shit. I did not touch on that, but there are a lot of shit boys.
It's a disgusting shit family. No, there's a lot good about it, and there's a lot that I found abrasive, but I think your mileage might vary. I could see liking it. I could see leaving it.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
So yeah, I was just touching on the Inspection here. This will come out limited on 11/18, and then A24 is going to figure out strategy from there. Real quick, the story very, very, very autobiographical from Elegance Bratton, story of a homeless gay black man who's been totally told to fuck off by his mother, joins the Marines in attempt to like win her back, her respect, her love, and everything. And boy, it just is gutting. The performances are really great. Animal Collective does the score, which was a massive surprise.
That's interesting.
Yeah, fucking great score. And then it ends with Animal Collective tunes. I don't know. It's not like game-changing, mind-blowing. It's great to see a story like this on screen. That is a big game-changing thing.
Yeah.
I meant it's not game-changing as far as the filmmaking. The filmmaking is totally, good and on par, and it looks gorgeous. Great DP. And for a first fiction feature, I mean, shit, man. Look out. Keep your eyes peeled for more from Elegance Bratton. Well, great film.
They also directed, you said fiction feature. They're the documentary Peer Kids, I think it's called. It's fantastic. I think it's on Criterion channel currently. It's worth watching. It's quite good.
You use the Criterion channel to peer at kids? Is that what I just heard?
Yes, Eric.
Maybe the internet's still a little fuzzy, but
the genius wordplay is back.
Thank you for calling it what it is.
No Wi-Fi slip up will destroy the genius wordplay. Yeah, and so this also was the closing night film of the festival. It brought everything to an end. I was there at the last public screening. It was actually great because they had big cast and crew Q&A. And Eugene Hernandez, who is leaving Film at Lincoln Center to go on to run the Sundance Film Festival. It was his last Q&A. So Eugene, well loved and well respected in this community.
Huge
and massive best of luck to him on his next adventure. But it was cool that I got to see his last Q&A, a little bit of a New York historical moment. So that is the coverage, folks. That is the coverage from the festival. Before we get into our now on screen in theaters and streaming shit, just was curious from you guys, like, thoughts about the festival overall, especially Eric, your first time dabbling in this insane world.
Yes, yeah, it was pretty magical. Those bathroom noises we talked about earlier, particularly, but it was great seeing all these movies and getting able to talk about them with you and you fine folks that let me know when my internet goes down.
Of course. I mean, it is like it's amazing to me because I've been doing this I've been going to this to cover it since probably about like 2007,
Look at this
2008.
veteran. That's like 5 tours of Iraq.
Sure. It's always been fun, but it should be more like it's been slowly crawling back since COVID. Like I am not seeing the absolute insane masses I saw like when Inherent Vice or Social Network played there. It was like you couldn't walk around the main lobby area. Like it just was absolute anarchy, and it's been kind of nice and also kind of a little sad to see it like being a little bit more calm, being a little bit more like everybody that like even the biggest crowd I saw was relatively mired, very like not pushing, no like they didn't have to schedule a second screening
That's
like they've done before.
I will say Bones and All was pretty crowded. I don't know if you guys noticed. You stayed in your seats. I started to get like a Charlie horse or something. So I got up and I watched the movie the last 90 minutes standing. There were people seated on the stairs to
really?
Wow. So it was a little bit of an overload there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. No, I got there early for that, boy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I gotta say, it was awesome there, being with you guys. It was awesome being there, seeing like other film world folks that I hadn't seen in a long ass time because of COVID or whatever else. So that was pretty cool. And it was great. It sounds like cliched at this point, but it felt like one of those like New York is back things. But also, I mean, just to like the Scorsese speech that he gave that was going around Twitter and everything, like it just was a real reminder again of like this thing as an artistic medium and not just a fucking, entertainment machine that churns out a bunch of money for comic book movies and big Hollywood temples and whatnot.
Speaking of which, Halloween ends.
Right.
But
totally, we'll get into it.
That's a perfect way of just starting this garbage fucking
so we won't be giving away any spoilers, of course, but it is now in theaters and on Peacock, and it happens that all three of us have seen it at this point, and I think maybe have liked it to varying degrees from one another. So Chris Cavan, you sort of started it off there. You watched it first, man.
I watched it the night of that it premiered, and I put this in the same realm as Wonder Woman 1984.
Okay.
In which they make a decision that is new. Like I give them that credit. They tried something new.
Yeah.
But for most people, like if it's new, either it sucks or it's the greatest thing ever, and the quality of how that newness works doesn't really matter. Right. And I kind of get that feeling I got that feeling from Wonder Woman 1984, and I got that feeling from this movie where I was like, this decision to, it is focused on a different character.
Which is, I actually kind of liked about it because I don't think, the problem I think it has is it doesn't coalesce and all come together in any real way. And it's kind of like, you don't give it like the movie doesn't give a shit about Halloween anymore. I feel, we're focusing on that character, but then you do get kind of like a Maniac Cop 2 vibe with both of them, but it ultimately goes nowhere. And I found it disappointing. Yeah.
I mean, my what you said, like, I would have so much more respected this if they had done the whole new thing, like front to back. Yeah. But then like about 40 minutes into this new idea, they're like, well, maybe if we gave a little bit of the other stuff, huh? I mean, come on, guys. Don't you want a little bit of the other stuff?
Also, a little like Friday 5.
Yeah.
Like, new beginning.
With that stuff. And I'm like, so like everybody hates when anybody else does this in any other movie. And for reasons that I can never put together or I haven't been able to put together in the last couple of days, is like this one, people are like, no, it's fine that they did this. It's absolutely fine that they did this absolutely terrible thing.
I mean, I guess I'm probably in the middle, or actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of farther than Eric, even as far as like positivity. Like, I think it's an interesting idea, and I think the concept is interesting, but I don't think the movie ultimately threads the needle in the right way. And I feel like everything just being jammed towards the end was a little bit of a bummer, but I also know that at the same time, I wouldn't have liked just another Rampage movie, so like, I appreciate the leap. I appreciate that it's different. Didn't super care for that kid. I mean, it's fine. He's fine.
He's attractive. I'll give him that. He's a very cute boy.
Cute guy,
I'll say on the record, I would have much preferred another Rampage.
Okay.
I would have Rampage was I kind of feel like they had tried to do this with the last one, where they were trying to do something a little new, and they just kind of beefed it, and then they did it again with this one, only to a greater degree. I would have liked just a normal, like the first Halloween DGG Halloween, where like good kills. The editing is very expressive and very like on rhythm, and like this, I was just kind of like, I think it looks pretty bad. The dark shit, I mean, looks pretty bad, and I didn't feel like, for people who like excuse it as dumb fun, I didn't know where it was being dumb or fun. Like it was really self-serious.
Chris, is this maybe what he's going for? He does a really good first movie, just like Halloween, the original is really good, and then he's like, these sequels are not as good. We got to make them not as good.
Sure, yeah, it's a plan. let's crash the plane into the mountain.
But yeah, it is honestly probably the most disappointing trilogy I've seen since the prequels or something, where you start out so strong, and then it's just, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I wasn't found.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, shit, for what it's worth, I didn't find myself screaming at the script with this movie like I was with Halloween Kills. You know, I feel like part of it was maybe listening to the internet. Like no one in that movie, this new movie, utters "Evil Dies Tonight" once, which I thought was
for that. I'll give him
nice.
That. Yeah.
You know, some other things just say nice. I think Andy Manichek and Jamie Lee Curtis give good performances in the movie. I like that Jamie Lee has sort of reverted back to like Laurie 78 with an edge. I don't know. All of that progression, you know, was interesting to me. It's just how they handled, I don't know, pseudo passing of the torch almost. I just thought it was clunky. It was a bummer because I think it's an interesting idea that doesn't really work right. And I think what's cool is, and our friends at Dead Meat were saying the same thing, it's kind of cool that this movie is so divisive. Like, when was the last time you saw people like fighting about a horror movie this much, and as passionately? I don't know. I think it's kind of cool because let's put it this way: people were not shitting bricks and fighting over that like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh no,
right.
That came out.
I mean, I think a couple people, but like we love Dead Meat, but there are corners of the horror community where they just thrive on stoking argument about anything.
Sure.
And like a movie like the 22 Texas Chainsaw, I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm gonna forget about that right now. And that like doesn't, of course, it's not good for someone who's building their career on this stuff and discussing this stuff. So I get it. I totally get that you'd want to talk about this stuff.
Well, I mean, all, you know, good art should create dialogue. Like if it, and I don't know. I mean, like if we're all sitting around like, oh, Halloween Ends was fucking awesome. Great job, David Gordon Green. You did it, dude. We're so proud of you and your fucking 4 screenwriters. That's the other part. That's the big problem. Why the fuck were 4 dudes writing this movie?
Maybe there were 2 teams.
Yeah.
It really feels like it was one team, David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, handling their fandom part of it, and then those other 2 people handling Corey Ween, you know?
I think they're also, it's McBride and Green, and another I think team is working with them on the Exorcist remake that is now Gordon Green's next that he's going to be doing. He's fully gone in there. He's just going to be doing horror movies for the rest of his life, I think.
He's even in fucking Bones and All for a half second. So
But you know, I can't fault the guy. If they just let you direct these movies forever, why not?
Of course, I don't care. I mean, here's the thing that's interesting, you know, as far as him directing these kinds of movies, right? This movie feels like it's really peppered with a lot of like old school David Gordon Green. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like all the real girls feel in this movie. And I don't know, I saw some people mentioning that and arguing about whether or not it's like a good thing. I don't know. I like all the real girls. I mean, I liked those, you know, early David Gordon Green movies. And when he started making like the stoner stuff and then getting into bigger pictures, he's definitely come a long way since those movies. So when you have those things like them on the motorcycle and it's just like a moment, you're like sort of reminded of that stuff, like the beauty of those movies. But then you're also immediately realizing, oh, but wait, this is so fucked up. Like what's happening, you know, but it's styled to look like it's Zooey Deschanel and Paul, whatever the fuck his name. You know what I mean? So like, I found that kind of interesting in the filmmaking. overall, I don't think it sticks that landing whatsoever. If you were doing like a long jumping in a sand pit, they jumped, it was a really far jump. Everyone's impressed with the distance, but they landed like in the grass off of the sand pit. You know what I mean?
And you broke both your ankles while doing it. Good job on that as well. I mean,
can we agree on good kills? Chris Cabin, were you pleased with the kills?
The kills, they took too long to get there, but yes, once they arrived, they were fine. They were good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that I love Corey Halloween, but I thought it was interesting at least. I didn't like the way they wrapped it up with Michael and stuff. I just couldn't get behind it.
Yeah, that's fair. So from one sort of newbie horror director to one, one of the all-time greats, new to streaming, Dark Glasses from Dario Argento. This was the movie that Shudder did the really cool thing a couple weeks ago where they were like advertising mystery screening October 1st, 10 p.m. And then boom, we all got to see the new fucking Dario Argento movie. And it's a cool movie, man. It's a real sort of back to roots feeling. It's a story about a woman who's blinded in a horrific car accident.
Hence the dark glasses.
Yes. Those are the titular dark glasses.
I did not get to this one. I'm excited to hear about it, though.
It just dropped on the platform officially on Friday, so you can watch it anytime now. I mean, that was a cool thing, too. Like, they did that preview, and then it was like, boom, tell your friends. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Very smart way to use a streaming platform that I've never seen. I don't think any other. Aside from like Disney putting the big new movies out there, and you paid $30 to watch Black Widow or whatever that was, like the Disney Plus like golden ticket access.
Yeah, I forget. At this point, I even forget what that. And that was like maybe a year ago.
But it's a good new way to stoke word of mouth, like you were saying.
Absolutely. It was really cool.
I was just very excited also to have Argento after like I just recently watched his Dracula, which is terrible. And then
I told you, dude, didn't I tell you?
It's really bad.
Dog shit.
And then it's been pretty bad since like the mid-aughts with him. But like this is back to 90s era where I'm like actually enjoying watching the movie all the way through. I'm not just waiting for kills all the time.
Yep.
It's just like Stenhall syndrome trauma level Argento. Not back to the salad days, of course. I mean, that's too much to ask, I think.
It's not overly gory in that way.
No. But stylish, very stylish. And speaking of
Stendhal syndrome, Ozzy Argento's daughter, of course, playing a large supporting role in the movie. She's like the assistant or the aide who is helping the character adapt to living as a blind person. Basically, Diana is the character's name, and she's played by Elenia Pastorelli. And then, so the whole thing is this character, the protagonist, befriends or sort of starts looking out for the boy who was orphaned in this car accident. Both of his parents were killed. So she's like taking this little kid around, and then, dangerous crime horror stuff is happening.
I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, no, and I'll tell you another cool thing. It fucking moves, man. It's like 85 minutes or something like that.
Like that.
Does not overstay its welcome.
Nice.
So I would be remiss if I did not run my mouth about some disc media before we get out of here.
Of course.
And I got to show you this, though. So to plug in this, I think it's a really cool thing they did. So who are these? Oh, yeah, Severin. Severin Films just put out 4K edition of Peter Meadek's The Changeling.
Wow, that's the George C. Scott Screaming at Ghosts movie, which is excellent.
Absolutely. And look what it fucking came with.
A little chair.
Uh-oh. Oh, the shirt.
Oh, nice shirt.
Yes. For our audio listeners on Patreon, Andrew has a shirt of The Changeling. Looks pretty sharp.
Yes, I'll be wearing that to horror conventions, dude. I'll fit right the fuck in now.
I was expecting the camera to like zoom back, zoom out, and you're like in the chair. You're in the little.
Just the wooden wheelchair.
You could put it together yourself.
Or if it came with like a big red ball or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice. Cool.
Yeah, no, but it's a convenient thing to plug because we can plug that this coming Tuesday on the main feed, the Spooktacular will roll on with an episode on Exorcist 3. Yes. George C. Scott impressions abound on that one.
Okay, yeah. So I don't like Halloween Ends at all. Yeah. But Exorcist 3 takes a big swing in a different direction, And
Yep.
I love that movie. I fucking love this movie so much. I really, it's some of my favorites. George C. Scott acting, and some of the absolute best Brad Dourif you've ever seen.
Brad Dourif is great. I'm kind of the lone dissenter maybe on this movie, but I feel like we'll get into it on Tuesday. I don't want to spoil it for the folks at home, but I also want to say we are going on tour in like
very soon.
in 10 days. We're touching down in I guess it's 11 days we're performing in Toronto, which I heard is pronounced locally Toronto.
It's like a CH. Here, you know what it is? It's
Chicago.
You know, like Chrono Trigger. Remember Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Chrono.
So instead of Chrono, say Trono.
Trono. That's how you say the city name.
Yeah.
They really mush it together to make it like as few syllables as possible.
We'll be in Trono, Ontario, at the Royal Theatre, talking Saw 4, October 27th. Just a little bit of tickets left for that, so you want to get on that now. November 14th, we'll be in Denver, Colorado, talking War Games at the Comedy Works.
Professor Falcon. Sorry.
Professor Falcon. Thermonuclear war might break out while we're on stage, which is a very, very exciting prospect.
That would be like, if we were doing that, it would be like, there's like Batman stage shows at theme parks and shit, or like Indiana Jones, the stage show ride. Like we're talking about it, and then like, boom, Russia nukes us.
We'll be luckily not New York City, so we might make it out.
Yeah.
November 15th, we'll definitely be safe in Salt Lake City, Utah. Talking Fatal Attraction at Wise Guys. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be very dirty in a very holy area.
It's going to be super pervert town. We're going to be getting a lot of dirty looks. It's going to be something.
We'll be arrested and taken to Mormon jail. You're going to want to be there on November 15th. And then, of course, November 17th, Phoenix, Arizona. We are talking Universal Soldier at CB Live. Tickets are moving on that one, folks, so you're going to want to get on it.
That one, we will be talking probably for about 40 minutes about JCVD's ass. But other than that, we will get to the action and the direction eventually. But mostly be about the man's perfect ass.
It's a beautiful little peach.
It's just
so it's just like what, Chris?
It's just like it zooms you in. It brings you in like the little twirly thing.
Just want to reach out and grab it.
So that's going to do it for this edition of On Screen Live, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you're listening in the audio only, thanks so much for being the loyal Patreon subscriber that you are. And again, if you want to catch us live, WHMpodcast.com. All the tour information and ticketing links are there. But until the next On Screen, I'm Andrew Jupin.
Eric Siska.
Chris Gavin.
Take it easy, folks. Have a good night. Bye-bye.